this is kind of a continuation of the 49ers injury woes. And, I mean, the tandem of Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell was great, but how long did it last? It really only lasted a few weeks. And the thing, I mean, it was short lived for sure. Elijah Mitchell now apparently out for the season with an MCL sprain. My question to you is, how much of a loss is this Elijah Mitchell? Does Elijah Mitchell pose for the 49ers? And are there any guys that you could see them picking up in free agency? Before you start, I do have a name, Melvin Gordon. He's a free agent, got cut by the Broncos a few weeks ago, and that could be an interesting guy. He's a bigger back as well. So
I think he signed with the Chiefs on their practice squad.
wait,
Am I wrong?
last time
Melvin Gordon's
yesterday, and he was still a free agent.
maybe that was not official. So. Hey, if he's available, but no, I actually think what's intriguing. Well, not intriguing. It's not intriguing that Elijah Mitchell got hurt, but the silver lining of losing Elijah Mitchell is now that the Niners have to give Jordan Mason an opportunity. And I mean, no one knows how he's really going to do, but he was really good in training camp. He was really good in the preseason against third stringers. And he's never gotten an opportunity. I mean, Mitchell went down early. Ty Davis Price was getting snaps. Ty Davis Price is averaging 2 yards a carry. Like, the Niners made all these moves. They traded away Jeff Wilson Jr. They acquired Christian McCaffrey without seeing what they really had in Jordan Mason. And now, I mean, they let him close out the game, and he did it. He was going up against like an 11-man box. If you go back and check it out, and he's just like powering through for 4, 5, 9 yards. He looked exactly like we expected him he would look. And I don't know what Kyle was so worried about here. But now it seems like if you just give him Elijah Mitchell's role, and I don't know what Kyle's plan is, but if you just give Jordan Mason Elijah Mitchell's role, the Niners might not miss a beat. They're different backs. He's a lot bigger than Elijah Mitchell, but he probably can't get to the edge like Mitchell can, but he might be even more powerful than Elijah. And that's what you need, because McCaffrey can get to the edge. Debo can get to the edge. You need someone who's legitimately powerful and durable and reliable to carry the ball between the tackles 10 to 15 times a game. And they have that guy right now. They've had him the whole time. I hope that Kyle doesn't just go back to McCaffrey 20 times like he did against the Rams, or go back to Davis Price, because I think Mason's earned it. They should be fine, really, without Mitchell. But let's see what Kyle does.
Well, yeah, and it's really going to depend on how much can Kyle adjust. And you'd think now that you have to give Ty Davis Price a little bit of trust, because he's going to be the running back number 3. And it really just comes down to how much do you trust Jordan Mason. Up until this point, they really have showed that they haven't trusted him, or like they haven't given him much carries. But then again, you have two other, Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey, 2 other backs on your roster that are really good. So there hasn't been much need for them to trust Jordan Mason. But now it's like, we'll see. It's really going to, if he succeeds even without Elijah Mitchell, it's going to be a testament to how good of a offensive coach he really is. And I think you still have so many weapons on your team. I don't think this should be a big loss, but I think you could, if you're really that much of a genius coach, you should be able to adjust to this and not miss a beat. So.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah Mitchell had averaged 5 yards a carry against the Saints. So did Mason. Mitchell had 35 yards on 7 carries. Mason had 25 yards on 5 carries. And he was doing it against an 11-man box at the end of the game that knew he was just going to run every time to seal out the victory. They couldn't stop him. So I'm intrigued. I think he's got fresh legs. He's a power back who's legitimately big. And now, like, Elijah Mitchell's really good. But on 3rd and 1 last year, they would go to Debo as their short yardage back. So now, like, they're really good and they can get to the 2-yard line, but they're giving the ball to McCaffrey at the 2-yard line. Now you give it to Mason, they might actually start scoring some touchdowns. So this could be a whole blessing in disguise that they finally get a legitimate weapon on the field. I think he's a legitimate weapon, and what's cool about him is he has a unique skill set. He's a big runner. That's why they drafted Ty Davis Price to be that short yardage guy. He isn't that yet. I think Mason is. Now they have another weakness filled in their offense. They should be able to score 25 points a game, or maybe start with 20.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, and going back to Elijah Mitchell, I think this is tough for him because this is his third knee injury now. And so it's like, that sucks. I mean, it could start to become a chronic injury. And the thing that sucks about this is, like, if you're looking for a big contract in the NFL, this is his second season. So you have to start getting healthy from this point forward if you want a bigger contract. And that's why it really hurts his career. And we'll see what the 49ers decide to do with him in the future. If maybe
the Niners are having a little bit of bad luck with small school guys. And I like small school players, but I think one thing you don't know about them is how their bodies are going to withstand the speed and violence of the NFL, because it's a big change. So look at Elijah Mitchell, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. They're examples of guys who their body may not withstand that big change of violence and speed, or it does. I don't know. I'm not writing off Trey Lance yet, but so far he's adjusting to the speed of the game. Well, he learned he messed around and found out between the tackles. You know, I bet that's not going to happen again. He learned the hard way on that one, and Kyle did too. So part of the risk of taking small school guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it.
You don't think it's the trainers that have something to do with this knee injury 3 times on the same knee?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably a whole bunch of factors. I'm just pointing out one that we probably haven't thought of.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not saying it's one thing. In football, it's always like 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's get to some comments real quick before we move on. We can spend all.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You're back. You're good. Someone called you, huh? Someone called you? That happens.
Yeah, and I apologize, everyone, because usually I do this on my computer, but it's getting fixed right now, so I'm kind of having to improvise. And
I was improvising in Mexico City last week, man. It happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. But let's get to some. We could spend all day on this, but I mean, you've got a busy life. I mean, go check out his channel if you guys haven't already. He's posting content like every day, like. Most of the day, it's really fun.
Gotta pay this mortgage, Ben. Gotta pay this mortgage, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Niners says, "Hello, gentlemen. Can't wait to see Eric Armstead, especially against the Finns. Yeah, that could be a huge addition. Hopefully, he doesn't get injured again."
Yeah, no, they need Eric Armstead. Their pass as they've had this amazing pass. They've had this amazing defense that's like shutting people out in the second half, but the pass rush hasn't been amazing, and that's what makes me feel like, is this a great defense, or is this a defense that's, shutting down bad offenses? What happens when they go against Miami? Well, we'll see. And if Armstead's out there, that'll help.
Yeah. And the thing, and we'll get to this later, so I'll just save it.
Because real quick, when they got eviscerated by the Chiefs, they didn't have Armstead. That's all I wanted to say. They had no pass rush, no Armstead. They got eviscerated by the Chiefs. So if Armstead's here, maybe they play better against the Chiefs. Maybe they actually have a pass rush against because I mean what the Dolphins want to do is they want to get Tyreek Hill from over here all the way deep and across the field, and same with Waddle. That takes some time, even though they run 4-2. So if you can get some pressure, you might be able to take away those deep crossing routes. Just saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. And do you think he'll be on a snap count?
I would think so, right? I mean, how often do you see a guy miss 8, 9, 10 weeks and then come back to a full workload? I mean, usually you could do it, but he's not going to have a great game his first game back. I don't know. You want to be careful because, frankly, we don't know his issue, right? He's got plantar fasciitis and a stress fracture in his ankle. Are these things that need surgery and he's trying to manage them? If so, how many games are you going to get out of him? And if it's only a few, man, you don't need to play him now. Play him in the playoffs. So the Niners need to be really, really smart with this. I have no idea what the condition of his 2 injuries are.
That defensive tackle, it's escaping me his name, that we signed last week. He did decent. I think he had a few big plays. It was did it start with a D? They signed a defensive tackle last week, and I can't remember his name, but between him and Hassan Ridgeway, I mean, they don't really need to put Eric Armstead into full speed right away, and especially since the Miami Dolphins might be missing Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. So,
T.Y. McGill?
Yeah. He had one good play, and I remember
He did.
I think he was a sack, I believe. It was some type of
So. I forgot that he's on the team. I always think of him as just being the practice squad guy they call up. But yeah, shout out T.Y. McGill. T.Y.
Yeah. And then Barry, before we get back to the topics, he said Melvin Gordon signed with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That must be today, because I did not. Yesterday I looked and he was still a free agent. So
I guess the Niners wanted Janoris instead.